New at 11, where was 4-year-old Richard Winnie? Police with dogs spent the night searching acres of woods and fields for a missing Albany County boy. A CDTA Express and a car collide in a deadly crash on a local highway. Plus Clarence Thomas, the movie, that story, and a blitz of high school football next on the Night Team.
Ernie Tetrault, Liz Bishop, sports with John Graney, and meteorologist Neal Estano. Now, live, the #1 news in the Capital District. This is the News Center 6 Night Team Reports.
Good evening. Ernie has the night off. Albany County Sheriff's deputies with dogs spent the night combing a wooded area along Route 85 in East Berne for any sign of 4-year-old Richard Winnie. Officers tell us the boy apparently left his home in the rural town about 4 hours ago and hadn't returned. Well, within the past couple of minutes, officers found the boy. Night Team reporter John Brice joins us live now to tell us just what happened and where he was found. John?
Well, Liz, this is truly a good ending to a story that people feared could have ended up a lot worse. Actually, his name is 4-year-old. His name is Eric Winnie, not Richard as we were told originally, but the 4-year-old boy wandered away from his house. People thought he had wandered away from his house around 6:30 or so tonight. Well, apparently the sheriff was brought in. They brought in dog teams, 2 dog teams as a matter of fact. There are volunteer fire departments here, a number of different volunteer fire departments. A total of about 75 people were involved with the search. And this is a terribly remote area out here. It's extremely wooded. Well, come to find out, the 4-year-old was extremely tired from a day of raking the leaves and ended up falling asleep in the laundry room. Now here's what his mother had to say just a few minutes ago.
They were out playing in the leaves, him and his brother, and all of a sudden they couldn't find him. And everybody got real concerned. Of course, he didn't answer. They found him in the laundry room.
What was he doing?
Sleeping.
Where?
In the laundry room on a pillow behind a bunch of stuff.
And as you could see, 4-year-old Eric was certainly not waken up by all the activity around here. He was still sleeping when we talked with him just a few minutes ago. Of course, all of the rescuers around here were extremely nervous for quite a long time. They came out tonight. They had a lot of smiles on their faces, and they were extremely happy that this story ended up the way it did. Liz?
Yeah, his mother looks calm now, but I'll bet she was frantic earlier.
She said she shed a few tears tonight when she was worried.
Okay, little Eric, home safe and sound all along, as it turns out.
That's right.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. It's
11:03, and elsewhere on the night beat, a head-on crash involving a CDTA bus has claimed the life of an Albany woman. Guilderland police tell us 63-year-old Norma Goldstein pulled her car out in front of the 21X Express at the intersection of routes 158 and 146. Neighbors who say the intersection is a bit tricky describe what happened.
What did people who heard
People that have been around here said all they heard was a loud bang. They saw the car flip coming out of the intersection.
It was just a crunch. There was no, as I recollect, just a skid, a momentary skid, and then a real loud crunch. You knew something was up.
The driver of the bus and his 6 passengers were taken to 2 Albany hospitals to be treated for minor injuries. Police say the victim apparently went through a stop sign. They say she was not wearing her seatbelt. The Michigan trucker who police say savagely raped and murdered a school teacher on I-88 will be extradited back to New York. Our CBS affiliate in Lansing, Michigan says 27-year-old Alex Vega has waived his right to a hearing, clearing his return to New York. Prosecutors in New York will bring Vega back to charge him with the June murder and rape, which began in Duanesburg and ended near Binghamton. The family of American hostage Jesse Turner has received an invitation from his captors. The Shiite Muslim group Islamic Jihad for the Liberation of Palestine has sent a note to Turner's wife and daughter welcoming them for a visit. Turner's wife says she is excited about the invite and she is planning to leave in 2 or 3 days. And the date is set and the invitation's in the mail for a historic Israeli-Arab peace conference. On October 30th, Israel and Arab adversaries will sit down at an American-Soviet bargaining table for peace in the Middle East. The meeting will take place in Madrid. The final announcement came today with word that the Soviet Union has reestablished diplomatic ties with Israel after a 24-year break. The sordid tale of the Clarence Thomas hearings may soon be at a theater near you. A Washington, D.C. company has plans in the works for a movie loosely based on Anita Hill's charges of sexual harassment. The film company says all names will be changed to protect itself from possible lawsuits. And the U.S. Supreme Court has its newest member tonight. Thomas took the first of 2 oaths of office today at an outdoor White House ceremony, becoming the 106th justice and only the 2nd black to serve on the nation's highest court. President Bush said the nation was better off for the hard-won experience that Thomas brings to the court. Thomas himself referred to the stormy confirmation hearings as a time to look for solutions rather than exploit problems.
Today, now, it is a time to move forward, a time to look for what is good in others, what is good in our country. It's a time to see what we have in common, what we share as human beings and as citizens. It is a
And before taking his seat at the court, Thomas must take a judicial oath of office. That happens next week. And another controversial nominee has cleared a major hurdle toward his confirmation. That tops our nightcap tonight. Robert Gates, President Bush's pick to lead the CIA, has been given the green light by the Senate Intelligence Committee. That comes after allegations that tied Gates to the Iran-Contra affair and said that he slanted CIA analyses to fit Reagan administration policies. Former Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon David Duke will probably win the Republican bid for Louisiana's gubernatorial race. That's according to Louisiana's current governor, Buddy Roemer, who says tonight he's afraid he will lose to Duke in tomorrow's Republican primary. The barnacle-clad remains of a World War II German U-boat were found 65 miles off the coast of New Jersey. Historians believe 15 enemy subs were sunk in that area, but the remains are mysteriously close to the coast. 2 divers out for a leisurely dive found the warship under 200-plus feet of water. Well, it was the cross gates of the late 50s and 60s, but through the years, the bright lights of Westgate Shopping Center have dimmed. Tonight, with a flip of a switch, Albany Mayor Thomas Whalen tried to put a little of the shine back into the center. The shopping center was built back in 1957, and it has been undergoing a facelift. It's 11:07, time to get the first look at sports and weather fast and up front. And John Graney kicks it off from the News Center 6 Sports Center. What's big tonight, John?
Liz, shocking news from the world of boxing. Mike Tyson's challenge of the heavyweight title from Evander Holyfield has been postponed. Now, the postponement has been caused by an injured rib suffered by Tyson back on October 8th. A news conference has been scheduled for tomorrow morning to provide details. The fight had been scheduled for November 8th, 3 weeks from tonight. Locally on the high school football scene, winners tonight include Amsterdam, Saratoga, Colony, Glens Falls, Columbia, Hudson, Queensbury, and Shenandoah. And in the AHL, the Capital District Islanders remain unbeaten with a 5-4 win over Adirondack in Glens Falls tonight in overtime. We'll be delving into these stories in much greater detail coming up in about 10 minutes. Now, Mr. Estano hopefully will provide us with a super weekend weather-wise.
Oh, Mr. Estano, I guess you really do want a good weekend. We are going to be seeing a pretty good weekend, but temperatures are going to be on the cool side. How will it start out for Saturday? We'll see temperatures starting out fairly mild compared to what it's going to be like by Sunday morning, about 45 degrees. Skies will be mostly cloudy to partly cloudy. It'll be north to south, northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Sun coming up 13 minutes past 7. Full weekend forecast for you in just 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
And still ahead, right after Mr. Estano's forecast, get ready for the weekly blitz of high school football as the News Center 6 sports team tackles a night of action on the gridiron. Looks like winter is arriving this weekend. Going to be real cold, huh?
It is going to be cold. Probably Sunday night will be colder than Saturday night. Probably the coldest night of the season so far. And
you're all excited, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I was talking to a ski area in Vermont, and they want to know how cold it's going to get their snow guns working. Well, not too far away before ski season starts. Looks like some of the areas will start making snow this weekend, and who knows, maybe they'll be skiing by next week. Well, certainly lots of cold air over the weekend, but it's not going to be a long-lived cold snap. It looks like things will start to moderate But I'll tell you, today was a winner. Temperatures were very comfortable. Even right now, it's nice and comfortable. We're on the east side of a cold front, so we're still on the mild side. Made it up to 72 degrees today. 49 was the low. Had a trace of rain early this morning, just after midnight. Right now, temperature hasn't dropped off all that much. 51 degrees right now with clear skies. Winds are out of the east at 5 miles per hour. And right now, the relative humidity is standing at 79%. I knew it was in the 70s. Dew point 45 degrees, and the pressure is rising still, but that pressure will start to fall as that cold front gets a little bit closer. Here is that cold front, and you can see it with the clouds and also the cold front drawn on the map here. The cold front now in western New York State. It's pushing to the east, but I think it's going to slow down a bit for tomorrow. So look for quite a few clouds around tomorrow, glimpses of sunshine. But after that, after those clouds move through tomorrow afternoon, it's going to clear out tomorrow night, and it's going to be on the chilly side. Already dropped down into the 30s through much of Michigan, back into Wisconsin with some snow in the air over much of northern sections of Wisconsin today. And further south along that front, up to 4 inches of snow fell from Rochester, Minnesota, south into Iowa. I don't think we'll be seeing that much snow, but don't be surprised to see some flakes in the air before the weekend is out, especially north of the Mohawk Valley, and especially over the hill towns and the higher elevations to the Adirondacks. Well, here's the rain mixing with some snow on the backside of this area of rain over the upper Midwest. It's sliding to the east. We could be seeing a few showers tomorrow. Nothing heavy, but just a brief shower here or there. It's going to be a cool, raw day. High temperatures tomorrow only in the low 50s. There's an area of cloudiness moving in with a cold air behind it, pushing to the south, pushing to the east. But as I mentioned, this cold air won't be around too long. I think by Monday, we'll start to warm up. Temperatures approaching 60 again on Monday. That cold front slides through. Much colder air behind this front. Some snow possibly accumulating a bit over extreme northern New York, northern sections of Vermont. And that cold air will settle in for Saturday night and Sunday night. I think by Monday morning, as we go back to work and school, temperatures will be close to 20 degrees, possibly even some teens over the North Country. Overnight tonight, clear to partly cloudy skies. A comfortable night, 45 degrees. Now tomorrow, a cool, raw day, a little breezy, maybe a shower, mostly cloudy skies. High temperature only about 53. I expect the temperature starting to drop tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, clear, cold, 24 to 29, light winds. A forecast for Sunday calling for partly to mostly sunny skies, a high temperature of only 49. And then we finally warm up back into the 60s by Wednesday, maybe a shower on Wednesday. So, Liz, that's the way it looks. It's going to be a frosty weekend, but it won't last too long.
Have we already had Indian summer? We have, hadn't we? We've had our big frost.
We had a frost, had a warm weather. Now we're back in another cold snap. This cold snap not lasting too long, but they will as we get closer.
Yeah, look at him smile. We hate that smile, by the way.
I know you do.
Work on it. Coming up on the other side of the break, a cornucopia of high school football as the News Center 6 sports team touches down with a night of action. And a winner of a finish to the week on Wall Street as the Dow picked up more than 24 points. Okay, clear the runway, rev up the jets, get off the telephone, because here we go with our Friday night coverage of the area's high school football scene. John?
Okay, thank you, Liz. We begin tonight up in Saratoga with the number 2 Streaks of Saratoga. We're attempting to keep alive their run of not having lost to a Section 2 team since 1988 against a vastly improved Shaker squad. But Saratoga has so many weapons. Here we'll take a look at senior Manny Avila, a fullback, as he rumbles on a 76-yard scamper to pay dirt. And believe it or not, he was not the star of this game. This run made it 19-0 Streaks. The only Shaker points came on this interception late in the opening half. That got Shaker on the board, and it was still 19-7, a game at halftime. But number 24 for Saratoga, Rich Darling, scored 3 touchdowns for the home squad. And tailback Mike Nesbitt, he was number 34. He also had a great game. He galloped 163 yards tonight. Nesbitt has not been held under he has not been under 100 yards this season but once, as Saratoga remains unbeaten with a solid 32-7 win over Shaker. Our top-ranked big school in the area is unbeaten Amsterdam, and they figure to be tested by Bishop McGinn tonight at Bleecker Stadium in Albany. Bud Mishkin lets us know if the Griffins were up to the task. Bud?
Well, not quite, John. One man does not a team make, but one player stood out tonight for Amsterdam, and it was not Justice Smith. Smith got Amsterdam started. After McGinn fumbled at Amsterdam's 4, Smith used the Rams' great offensive line to run 52 yards. 6-0 Amsterdam after 1 quarter. In the second, Mishkin comes back. Quarterback Mickey Foley can scramble well and throw well, and here he does both. Matt Hitchcock with the catch, tied at 6. On the ensuing kickoff, Amsterdam's Joe Hale fields the bouncing ball at his own 21. He escapes a few tacklers, and he's gone. A 79-yard return to put Amsterdam up 12-6, but Hale was only getting started. Still in the second, Hale, number 38, partially blocks a Mishkin punt. That led to a 2-yard Hale touchdown run. And with the score 20-6 near the end of the half, Hale comes up with the interception to stop a Mishkin drive. Amsterdam romps 34-12. Hale with 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and the kickoff return that turned the game around.
I thought I was going to get killed because the ball was rolling around. I just saw this big kid standing in front of my face. I just took off around the end and luckily broke it.
John, at a game I covered last year, Hale had 3 touchdowns. Tonight he had 3 touchdowns. I think I should become his agent.
He'll mail you money for the next trip to the next game. Okay, thank you, bud. Elsewhere tonight around the Capital District, a busy night it was. Colony shuts out Schenectady in Metroland Conference play by a final of 14-0. Glens Falls with a surprise 12-7 win over Bern Hills. Gloversville, 2 touchdowns better than Guilderland. Niskuna and Johnstown played on 8-all tie. And Columbia, 11 points over Scotia tonight. In Capital Conference action, it was Hudson, 20-7 over Cohoes. And in Northern Adirondack play, Lake George having a good season. They beat Mechanicville big at Mechanicville, 30-6. The lead in the Metroland Conference's Division III was at stake tonight when first-place Queensbury took a 1-game lead to Ballston Spa to take on the runner-up Scotties. Fast Eddie O'Brien reports. Eddie?
Yeah, John, this was a big one for both teams. A Ballston Spa loss would put them pretty much out of the race for first place. A Queensbury win would give them a 2-game lead over the Scotties. Ballston Spa can't buy a break in this game. They're down 6-0 at the intermission, and then in the third, things get all out of hand. On the punt, Josh Federico back there to field for Ballston Spa, but it gets away, and the ball recovered by Queensbury. That's on the Ballston Spa 30-yard line. Now on 2nd and goal from the 7, Shane Elder. It's Jeff Didio, second TD pass of the night for Elder, and it's a 12-0 lead for the Spartans in the 4th. Ballston Spa finally moving on offense, but Steve Beals has this one picked off at the goal line by Steve Dybus. He gets the ball back out to the 44-yard line. Then 2 plays later, Didio, 48 yards for his 2nd touchdown of the night, and Queensbury wins the game. Final score here is 19-zip.
Oh, yeah, this is very emotional for us. Offensive line was doing a great job blocking. They're smashing them right off the line. It was a great job. It's a huge win. We're on a roll.
Yeah, as Didio said, John, a very emotional win for Queensbury tonight. You have to wonder, though, whether they can now sustain this kind of emotion for the final 3 games of the regular season.
That should pretty well wrap up that division now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. When you think of Albany Shenandoah, one thing's first, the basketball, but tonight they hooked up in Clifton Park on the gridiron. Now, Shen has not received an awful lot of notice this year, despite coming in at 4-1 and being ranked number 3 in our big school poll. The Plainsmen did not call in any details of this game, but photog Tim Knight tells me that little Steve Amodio had a big night on the ground for the winners as Shen romped to victory 21-6 over Albany, staying just a half game behind Saratoga in Metroland's Division I. Albany falls to 1-4-1 with the loss tonight. And now on a perfect Friday night for football, we take you off the playing field, hey, all you Blue Streak fans, and look at some of the stars of the sidelines and in the bleachers, and in effect, the people who make Friday night football so exciting and so different. Our cameras each week look for banners, signs, placards, crazy haircuts, anything that makes good enthusiasm. And there you see right there, people are putting a lot of work into some of these things that are coming out on Friday night, and it looks good for you, and it looks good for us as well. We appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of work went into it, and a lot of work went out of it, actually.
Just like that.
That's just like that. Thank you. He'll go away for just a moment, but guess what? He'll be back with highlights from tonight's matchup between our local AHL entries, the Adirondack Red Wings versus the Capital District Islanders. You know, there's an outside possibility, John, when I were talking during the commercial break, that the Tyson fight may never come off at all.
And boxing fans will be the loser
Yeah.
for sure. In a shocking development, the heavyweight title fight between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, scheduled for November 8th, has been postponed due to a rib injury suffered by Tyson. No word yet on a new date. Big question, of course, what happens if Tyson's trial takes place before he can fight? If he's found guilty, this fight will never come off. Tonight it was the Capital District Islanders heading up the Northway, looking to remain unbeaten against the Adirondack Red Wings at the Glens Falls Civic Center. But it was Adirondack who scored the game's first goal as number 29, Kirk Tomlinson, will beat Danny Lorenz. 1-0 Wings right there with that slapper. Later in the opening period, number 7 in blue, Rich Crom, will tie it for the Isles. and we go to the second period tied at 1. The Red Wings again take a 1-goal lead on the goal by Billy McDougall on the Red Wing power play right there, poking it home. But Butch Goring's club dug in and got the tying goal from one of Dennis Laxdal, number 38, who sat out the last game, giving you an idea how deep this team is. Now, number 17 in blue is Greg Parks, and he just got demoted from Long Island today. His goal past Scott King made it 3-2 Isles as they remain unbeaten with a 5-4 overtime win and a goal by Lee Griffin. What a start for Capital District. After 6 games, the Washington Capitals brought the best record in the NHL into action tonight as they hosted the New Jersey Devils. Former Ranger Mike Ridley starred tonight. Here he'll score on a Capital breakaway right there, taking the puck away. And later in the game, he'll be properly positioned to poke home a rebound blast off a shot from defenseman Kevin Hatcher. And thanks to those 2 goals by Hatcher, Washington wins a close one, 6-5. In Buffalo, the Canadians led only 1-0 going to the third period thanks to sensational goaltending from Clint Malarchuk. And then the Sabre offense took over. Doug Bodger right there ties it with a slapper off the Dale Howard-Chuck feed. And then Howard-Chuck takes advantage of sloppy Montreal passing in their own end to score what proved to be the winner. Buffalo wins it by a final of 3-1. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, game 1 of the World Series between Cinderella teams Atlanta and Minnesota will be brought to you here on TV6. The pitching matchup, Jack Morris for the Twins against surprise nominee Charlie Liebrandt for the Braves. I like Atlanta in 6.
Yes, I know you do. The arms have it, as you say. Okay, we'll see if you're right. Still to come, will the sun shine bright on your Saturday morning? Neal Estano with the answer when we come back. All right, we're almost out of time, but let's find out about that weekend. What do you say?
Well, that weekend is going to be starting out with quite a few clouds tomorrow. If you see some sunshine tomorrow, it's not going to last too long. Temperature about 45 to start it out, getting up to only 43. It's going to be a chilly one.
All righty, thank you for that. Be sure to join the weekend team for News Center 6 tomorrow at 6, and CBS Prime Time is next. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching. Good night.